Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we'll be talking about the playoff matchup between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. Before we continue, I want to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. Who do you think's going to win? Expectations, projections, everything in between. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. And I do think it's an interesting matchup. And if you just want to hear my prediction, just skip to the final 2 minutes of the video and you can just get it right there. So this matchup pits Cleveland against Toronto. Cleveland finished with a 52-30 record with the East's 4th seed, ranked 4th in scoring at 119.5 points per game, and posted a plus 4.1 net rating with a 119.2 offensive rating, which ranked 6th in the league. Toronto finished 46th and 36th, ranked 5th in the East, and leaned into their defensive philosophy. Finished 9th in points allowed at 111.8 per game, 5th in defensive rating, and 11th in net rating with a plus 2.9. To me, Toronto carries an edge in this series that it went 3-0 against Cleveland in the regular season, held the Cavaliers to 101, 113, and 99 points in those 3 wins. The Raptors beat Cleveland 112-101 in October 31st, then again November 13th, and November 24th. So one might now counter argue that those games were in the beginning of the year. So I think basketball in the playoffs usually leads to the team that has the best players and who are able to make shots, star power, and Cleveland has more of that, regardless of what you think of their front court. Toronto does not overwhelm teams with pace or three-point volume. The Raptors ranked just 21st in scoring at 114.6 points per game and 20th in pace at 98.4. But they defend, move the ball, and score well inside the arc. They shot 48.2% from the field, 55.5% on twos, and averaged 29.5 assists per game, which ranked 3rd in the league. I think they do have an interesting playoff matchup, as they don't need chaos to create offense. Brandon Ingram gives Toronto its best half-court score. He averaged 21.5 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 3.7 assists while shooting 47.7% from the field, 38.2% from the 3, and 82% from the free throw line. He's able to create his shot late in the clock, and Toronto will need that against a Cleveland team with more overall firepower. Scottie Barnes drives everything else. He averaged 18 points, 7.5 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.5 steals, and 1.5 blocks. He had a BPM of 4.2. Barnes gives Toronto the Swiss Army knife, all NBA caliber, do-it-all forward who can push the pace off rebounds, fast break, create for others, guard every single position, and be the soul of the team. RJ Barrett's another downhill scorer, averaging 19 points per game, 49% shooting. He attacked effectively inside the arc, shooting 57.2% on twos, and got to the line 5 times a game. If Toronto wants to pressure Cleveland, especially on the perimeter and their wings, and force rotations, RJ Barrett becomes a major swing piece. If Immanuel Quickley is available and close to full speed, Toronto's offense becomes harder to load up against. He averaged 16.5 points, almost 6 assists, hit 37% from 3, had a 57.7 true shooting. He spaces the floor, keeps the ball moving, gives Toronto another guard who can make Cleveland pay for helping too aggressively. Now, the hamstring status does matter, as he's currently listed day to day. Toronto also has the front court depth that could bother Cleveland physically, and we all know how Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen do when they get a little bit of aggressive, or get in, I guess, a physical matchup would be the right way of saying it. Jakob Poeltl shot 70% from the field and averaged just under 11.7 rebounds in 25 minutes. Mamu added 11 points. He's more of a power forward, 52% shooting and 39% from 3. had almost 64% true shooting. CMB, the rookie, gave them 8.5 points, 5 rebounds, shot almost 58% from the field. That center by committee, the trio, gives Toronto multiple ways to match size, finish plays, and survive foul trouble. They also got some useful bench shooting from Jakob Poeltl, shooting almost 41% from 3. Jamison Battle, who's also shooting 41%. So, and I think Jamal Shedd's another guy that's worth mentioning there. Gradey Dick, they have players that they can call upon if needed. Obviously, Cleveland enters as the better record, the better offense, the strongest top-end shot creation in the series. The Cavaliers won 52 games, scored almost 120 points per game, ranked 8th in field goals, 8th in threes made, and 4th overall in scoring. They shot 48.2% from the field and 36% from 3, almost 58% on 2s. When the Cavaliers offense clicks, they can break down even the strongest of defense with volume, spacing, and star talent. Donovan Mitchell's the biggest reason why. He averaged 28 points, almost 6 assists, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 steals, shooting 48% overall, 61% true shooting, usage rate of 32%, and his BPM was 5.1, which shows how much Cleveland depends on him to create offense. And in any playoff series, the team with the better shot maker often owns the late game edge. They also have James Harden. Toronto has multiple good defenders, but it does not have an easy answer for Donovan Mitchell's pull-up shooting, downhill burst, and ability to carry the offense for long stretches and then use his gravity to create for his teammates. Evan Mobley gives them another player to worry about. I think he's someone that impacts both ends of the court. Same thing with Jarrett Allen, who's just two guys that give him size, and some might say the size advantage. James Harden is the second star. He raises Cleveland's ceiling even more. Even though he played only 26 games with them, he averaged 21 points, almost 8 assists, shooting 43.5% from 3, 64% true shooting. If he's healthy, he's a guy who can help Cleveland place far more pressure on Toronto's defense, because James Harden not only organizes the offense, he's almost 6'5", draws fouls, forces rotations that open clean looks for their shooters. Evan Mobley, who averaged 18 points, 9 rebounds, almost 4 assists, just under 2 blocks a game, the former Defensive Player of the Year, 55% shooting from the field. Toronto has versatile forwards, but Evan Mobley being a 7-footer who's got length, solid interior finishing, and the ability to protect the rim, as well as the fact that, yes, Toronto has size, but Cleveland can punish the teams on the glass and around the rim when Allen and Mobley assert their physical dominance and control the paint. So that too big look still gives the Cavaliers a clear interior advantage, regardless of what you guys think of Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. Jalen Tyson has been someone that I think a lot of people, if you weren't following, you're just finding out, or if you were following, you knew he had a strong season. He averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds while shooting 49% from the field, 44.6% from 3. He's one of the most efficient shooters in the league, and the kid has a lot of potential. Sam Merrill added almost 13 points, 42% from 3. Those two wings give Cleveland the kind of spacing that'll punish Toronto for overhelping Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, in any sort of action. And for this team, I think when you look at it, Jarrett Allen, Thomas Bryant, Keon Ellis, James Harden, Sam Merrill, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Dennis Schroeder, Dean Wade are all guys who are dealing with their own little questions. But if Cleveland gets most of that group on the floor, it's simply a team that has more creation, more perimeter shooting, and more ways to win different styles of games than Toronto does. So some of the things people are going to say as like swing points, Toronto ranks 5th in defensive rating and already held Cleveland under 114 points in 3 games. The half-court shot creation, Toronto plays at a slower pace, and maybe they can slow down Cleveland. Cleveland just shoots more threes, and it's a math equation at that point. I just think with having Mitchell, Harden, Merrill, and Tyson and Wade spacing the floor and the front courts. So to me, I think it's kind of apparent who's going to be the individual who will, or the team that will win this. So that's where I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think? And if you guys agree with me, I do definitely think this is the Cavaliers. in 5 games, maybe 6 at worst.